rare that a pistol gets to be the star of the show in a video game, but that's exactly what happened in Dead Space. The 2008 survival horror classic made the plasma cutter, a handgun-like tool that shoots vertical or horizontal projectiles, the most essential tool for dismembering your necromorph enemies. When it came to remaking Dead Space, developer EA Motive knew that it had to do right by this iconic weapon, and so it's exactly as you remember.
Who wants to change the plasma cutter? It's perfect as it is. Anybody that played any Dead Space before, remember that weapon. Remember the distinct click, click when it turns. Remember the sounds of it, the impact of it, just how it feels playing with that weapon. And so for us, it was really important to keep that memory.
But while the form and function of the plasma cutter is just how you remember it, the weapon model itself and all its rotating components had to be completely rebuilt from scratch in EA's modern Frostbite engine.
With the visual fidelity, both in terms of graphics but also in terms of animations that we have today, we had to go much more in detail in terms of concept art on how that thing actually works. What is each piece? What are those little elements really doing? Whether or not we're using that afterward in game, we had to really define how that thing would move and behave if it was a real tool.
It's not just the gun model that's brand new though. EA Motive has overhauled the weapon upgrades, and so the plasma cutter has a few new tricks up its barrel.
Every weapon has an upgrade part. So every weapon, you can find a new section for the weapon that you can plug in it, and physically it attached to the gun. So we have added all those functionality that look logical to the gun and that have a function.
One thing we've been bringing from Dead Space 2 and expanding a little bit on, it's the concept of special upgrades. So one of those upgrades coming straight from DS2, it's the fact that when you shoot with the plasma cutter, if you have that upgrade, the limb of the enemy that you shoot at is going to catch fire, and so it's going to burn the flesh and do a bit more damage.
Despite its cool new upgrades, you can be safe in the knowledge that the plasma cutter is exactly the weapon you love and remember. That can't be said for the rest of Dead Space's armory though, which has been significantly redesigned.
We wanted to rebalance a bit the weapons to make sure that each weapon felt powerful in their own way.
For most of the weapons, we kept exactly the primary fire because they are iconic and they serve different function, in terms of the way you fight enemy. But we find out that there is something we could push even more, is to give more tools for the player to do some crowd control with enemies, when you have multiple enemies.
For example, what we did with the pulse rifle is that we took an element which was in Dead Space 2, it was a grenade launcher. We adjusted slightly because now it's a proximity mine. The force gun, we completely changed the alt fire. Now the force gun create that gravity well that attracts everything to it.
What is super interesting is that you can combine it with all other weapons. So with the primary fire of the force gun itself, with the trap of the light gun, so you can have fun, putting a trap, attracting, the enemy onto this place and putting them together, with the proximity mine of the pulse rifle. So basically the idea was to create new tools to be able to play with enemies and create new strategy.
This rethinking of Dead Space guns means that all your favourites are still here, but have been changed to be more useful and creative. That seems to be the general idea behind all the Remake's changes, which we'll be looking at in more detail this month as part of IGN First. For more, check out the opening of the game in 4K, as well as the comparison between the remake and the original game. And for even more exclusive Dead Space videos, stick with IGN.